Yeah, welcome to Pax Europiana. I'm very honored to have a very special Austrian guest, Alexander Samonig. He is an Austrian living in Serbia for many years already, and he has built up a own tax advisory and consulting company and invested himself in Serbia. And I'm very honored that you take time. Alexander, please present yourself to the international audience.
Hello, hi, I'm Alexander from Austria. I was founding my first company in Koper, Slovenia, in '89. In the time of former Yugoslavia, it was a disaster, but this disaster led to further development over Ljubljana, to Zagreb, to Novi Sad, to Serbia. And the name of the company was very interesting. It was the name Kopri. This is an Arabic language. I was told it is bridge. And I see myself like a bridge builder. To say it this way, yes, I'm tax advisor. Yes, I built up a lot of offices, but in the heart, I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah? And this entrepreneurial experience, it's not for the money. It's very important money, but it's for the experience. That's why I have maybe founded in Serbia more than 20 companies overall, 30 companies, a lot of experiences in different fields. And I think this experience should be shared with you, or could be shared with you. I'm often in the role of a minority shareholder, a guy which helps in the finance stuff, guy which gives the partner, which gives logically also some money, some contacts, and to try to bring it up. In Slovenian language, it's a name, it's Samonig. It's a plant which can live in a desperate surrounding, for example, a desert. Yeah, and Samonig, keep it in mind. I'm this guy which is doing somewhere things which are maybe impossible, but we 1/3 it's a catastrophe, 1/3 it's average, but 1/3 of our projects are really great, and this is it. Experience enough. Maybe I can give you some insight where you should, how to say, prevent some catastrophes which I had. I decided 10 years ago to go to ECOVIS. ECOVIS is Economy Vision. It's a German network, and I saw the potential that the German locomotive come to the Balkans and make here really development. Yeah, it's now we are in this stage. It's happening, and I'm now doing a campaign for Bavarian companies with their more than 50 offices to bring them this region nearer. Yeah? My Serbian company is called ECOVIS SAA. I'm somehow the coordinator for this region, and I am not angry if someone goes to Macedonia, Northern Macedonia. I have to learn this. Or to Kosovo or to Romania. It's important that the client is coming in our region, and then that we can help to grow with this client, to grow trust, and then to build up a relationship with which is healthy. Yeah? That's my approach. It's a long way, but again, my entrepreneurial spirit is this when I also enjoy when I see others to be successful. It's not only my pocket when I say, yes, I have here shares, the value of the shares and so on. This is maybe also an interesting thing. We are members of BNI, Business Network International, which is an enormous large referral network, 200,000 members in Bavaria, 50 chapters. And what I enjoy, I'm a director of the Burger organization, that I can talk now in the COVID times, so-called hybrid. There are partly digital meetings, partly really analog meetings, but now the hybrid to talk with entrepreneurs, partly very small entrepreneurs, but you get so much positive energy and so much many ideas for businesses. And I think also this gives a special approach. We have in German language the sentence beratende Unternehmer für Unternehmer. That means consulting for for entrepreneurs from an entrepreneur, and who don't believe that I'm an entrepreneur. I think only this statement shows what happened in this 30 years, and it was a roller coaster. It is a roller coaster, but it's valuable to think about the whole region. And but first, it's necessary to be informed, and this should help you to give a glimpse, to get a glimpse what is waiting for you if you decide to come to this region. I'm sorry for my rusty Austrian English. I'm not so perfect, but I have more than 500 audiobooks from prime supplier, I don't say the name, and 80% of them are English. And this digital world opened for me the possibility, if some book is coming out today, I can buy it today. And we should see what this digital world is bringing to us. I go to Manhattan in the bookshop and buy. I can everything buy. In a lot of cases, it's like this. And also, you can, like you see now, Gunther is sitting in Vienna. I'm sitting in Belgrade. You maybe sit wherever we talk. And this COVID is a catastrophe, but it helped to develop. And we will look back in 10 years, and it helped to get digitalization further, fast forward, and at the end we will be somehow, this is the plus, the upside of the whole situation, which definitely is a catastrophe, but there is also an upside. Where we should start, dear Gunther?
Alexander, let me ask you topic by topic about important issues for foreign direct investors. The first one about the currency. The Serbian dinar had a devaluation since the last big crisis in 2008, a great financial crisis, but it now is relatively stable at 117 to the euro. What's your perspective? Is it safe to invest from the currency in Serbia? Will it be stable? And what's your medium-term perspective on the currency issue?
I made 5 years ago, I think, a prediction that we should be now nearby 150. I was totally wrong, but you have to see it from another perspective. The problem is that a lot of prices, for example, the prices of electricity, or other goods which are local services, in principle, the euro is stable. But on the other hand, these input prices are quite dramatically increased. That means it could be in this 5 years period, we can say 15%, maybe also 20. And now you're a Serbian company exporting some product to Germany. Agreed, I have such a case. They agreed the price, and the guy, the entrepreneur, gets this 20 euros per piece, but the price stays in dinar always the same, but he has to pay the electricity and so on in dinars, which is definitely rose. And I see my role always in this company. For example, I'm a director, like fiduciary director, and I try really to make a mediation to say, on one side, the German is right to say, I don't like to increase the price, 20 is okay. On the other side, if you take a look at the input costs, there's really a problem. That means maybe from a local perspective, this is not so. It's really a problem. And the problem is now related to the kind of projects you are doing. If you would buy now, for example, here a production facility, a building, and lease it out, you will buy it in euros, you will lease it out in euros, who cares? But the effect, I would definitely advise when you make a project in the whole region, how this effect really happens, or how this affects the project, because it's too simple to see it's stable. It's a problem, also a problem, but to be honest, it's also very good that it's like this. One small legal issue. You have to be aware that in Serbia, we have to do business in dinar. Yeah? And this is in the practice often a problem because, for example, you get a down payment in dinar. Yeah? And then what we do, we open an account in the same bank like the payer of this down payment. Then we agree with the bank in-house that we change this in euro, and then we pay it out to the German, for example, supplier. Yeah? But if we would do this different, then the problem is that we cannot agree with the bank in the same moment for an internal exchange rate, and the spread and the cost can kill you. Yeah? Really, it's hurting, and this you have to have aware. And the buyer cannot pay in euro. Yeah, let's really state and such special things. That's not a topic. There it's possible, but in the practice, it's really a topic. And you should have in mind to think about this cash flow abroad in the beginning. That you get it right. Yeah? You can only exchange dinars to euro if you have a document you will pay within 48 hours. That means an invoice from Europe or wherever, that you say I need 100,000 euros, then you can buy 100,000 euros. If you have dinars and you have no reason to buy dinars, then you cannot buy it. Yeah, and it can be a topic which is really this principle has to be understood. Yeah? We have a lot of work with this, and you know, it could be so-called. We are known for a workaround. We are a workaround company. Yeah? We find ways around, and then maybe it's first why we don't hedge. Then you say with whom I should hedge. It's theoretically possible, yeah? But this you have to be, I don't know, say ZF, yeah? And then you can do with your bank anything, yeah? And you are now a small company, some million euros trade volume. No one will do this. It would be too complicated. Credit boards and risk analysis. And then at the end of the day, you have to be creative. Yeah? I hope I give us a glimpse on this issue, but it's an important issue. Yeah?
In the other countries you are active, in Bosnia, Macedonia, and also now in Croatia, the currency risk is finished because they are all connected to the euro. Just Serbia and Albania are not. Do you think there is a future possible? There will be also like a currency board or a peg towards the euro in Serbia?
I hope so. I understand. I would like. I'm really not expert for this, but it would be like that you have a cash dinar, yeah? Cash transaction dinar, and in between companies that you have also the possibilities to do transactions directly in euros. Yeah? I see the large. You know, this is a political issue. We are Serbia is dinar, dinarization, take credits in dinar, and so on and so on. Yeah, it's. I hope the minimum what I expect is such a solution that I, as entrepreneur, like a legal entity, could have book money in the sense that there's no you cannot take out of the company euros, yeah, but that the cash transactions would be somehow in dinars and the rest in euros. It would help. It would make things definitely easier. I'm not really expecting that this is happening. National Bank is very proud. Everything is long lasting. I have also to say positive things. They changed a lot of rules. For example, now it's possible to compensate liabilities and receivables with a document that you don't pay. I know the situation. For example, the proposal from a client was, yeah, we will pay the Serbs and the Serbs will pay us. I said, let's see if it's possible to make a compensation to make it with only the cap over would be paid. And this is getting better, but it could be better. For example, I'm not allowed to have like a Serbian company account abroad. I cannot have, no bank will ask me for approval in abroad, but I cannot book it in my books. Yeah? For example, for some internal cash management issues, that my internal bank opens in one company, for example, in Germany, for all companies, a centralized account to pick up all money I don't need and to interest it and so on and so on. This is not possible. I hope it will be possible, because it's always like this. Everywhere it's possible, but not in this country, and it's a little bit problematic. I had, for example, now a very unpleasant situation. There was a minimal mistake between a quarterly report of some liabilities to abroad. It was the opening statement and the closing statement was not the same, and it's totally banal. It makes no damage. It's a report who really no one needs. I have no idea what this means. Quarterly, not yearly. And I was now in front of the judge, and the judge did not understand what is the problem. I have to tell you what is the problem. In this way, you can pick up some fines and fill up the budget. And I understand some such, if there would be any damage or any use for the state for such a report. And it makes no sense. And now, from the perspective of a foreigner, I'm director of this company. I was not aware of what was really going on, and I was hardly explaining to the judge, because it's nonsense. It's absurd. It makes no sense. But the National Bank found now between two Excel sheets some mistake. I don't get it. Such it's hard to translate. We have such a term in our country. It's för jeden P, or för 1P, and it's translated more than less. You are missing a paper. You're missing a seal. Seal is very important. It was
a stamp.
Stamp. I was thinking about stamp. You missing some data. This word pečat, podatak, papir is P. And it's making things very complicated, because you lose valuable time. Because to get it right, I will say it maybe twice or more times. We investors are investing also time, and we are investing money. But time is often very important, and such things make no sense. And I had a presentation some days ago, and I made some wishes. And one of the wishes was, I understand there things are important, but there is a lot of unimportant things. Let it go, because no one has any add value on this. But I'm for fines if something is fraudulent or tax evasion, whatever. I'm absolutely in favor of this, but not for stupid nonsense. And I cannot say it. I'm an expert sitting there on the bench, very nice judge, but she's not understanding what was really the case. And I was not sure if was the first of the quarter or the end of the quarter the problem. It's the same. It was not for the next quarter, not the same. And it's technical error. And for this, I have to drive 100 kilometers on one side, take a lawyer with me, and so on. It was a nice day, but lost. For me, a lost day for nothing. And I don't know. Maybe this is really a good insight that you can expect also strange things happen, and it's good to have a person really in the region, really near, to react fast. Now imagine I would live like Gunther in Vienna. I would lose 2 days. Yeah, and makes no sense. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing this very personal experience now
Yeah.
as an investor in Serbia. Let me ask you in the second topic about taxation system and the tax system. What is the Serbian tax rates for income and for corporate rate? Is
Yeah.
it competitive? Is it attractive? And how complicated is the implementation?
Now, in principle, this is quite okay. 15% for person SIT for corporate income tax. This is quite okay. The rate was before lower, but 10%. But this is a problem, especially if you get dividends. 10% would mean that the dividend would be taxed again in the other country. I like this very much. The system is quite okay. We got 5 years ago transfer pricing. What means that all transactions with related parties has to be benchmarked with margins of other competitors or competitive companies. This is somehow for smaller companies maybe also a problem because this work is quite expensive, yeah? And somehow it's obligatory and you have to pay the consultant, okay, not the tax, don't go to the how to say, to the client, but we get the money, yeah. And okay, the threshold, thanks God, I was also responsible that there is at all a threshold. 68,000 euros is the threshold per segment. It's not so much, but for really extreme cases, then you don't need it. But it's a work, and it will be now. We are working now up to end of June, or exactly 180 days after 28th of June. We have to present the tax balance sheet, and this transfer pricing for 2/3 of our clients which fulfill this criteria. It's an additional cost. Yeah, in principle, what is also good, the next year, the balance sheet statutory reporting, let's say it this way, will be reported end of March, which is a shorter period, but the old style statistical reporting is not anymore applicable. It means we do not have to do additional reporting on 28th of or 29th of February. It's depending which year. It's it's shorter, but we can better organize ourselves. Yeah, as I'm talking now from the side of a consultant, and it's okay. We like this very, very much. This may be now the side of corporate income tax. Maybe I'll tell you something else what we should have in mind. Yeah, what is not good is a withholding tax for services. They invented it, and I think also Albania has it. I'm not so sure. And it's a problem with countries where you don't have a DTA. And this leads, like, for example, I have a trade forward agency which is doing global business. All invoices from China, from US, from some countries outside of Europe are problematic. And in general, these invoices are very slow, very low. Yeah? And now it makes no sense that you try to get a residence certificate for an invoice of $100, yeah, because some partner in US sends you $120 invoice, and then you should get the paper, translate the paper, file the paper. And to say it honestly, this client is doing this practically only in extreme cases where they get very large sums or moving large amounts, because it makes no sense. It's somehow additional cost, and you have, you know, who is bearing the final cost, the consumer. But this is really, 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 really disrupting. And I hope also this will be solved in the near future. Now I would come back to corporate personal income tax bit. It's okay. 10% is very okay. And to be honest, you know, the average salary, I'm quoting now the state secretary, which Nick Cevic, which gives this report on Monday. The average salary is 533 euros. Yeah? If you take now an average salary from 533, multiply it with 12, then you have 10%. But if you have a salary which is higher than, let's say, 18,000 euros net, then you have to pay for the amount above additional 10%. Yeah? And the maximum, if you really good salary, the maximum tax would be 25. And in average, if you calculate this, it's really depending. If you have 1 million euros net, it's another figure, but you hardly can go over 20% because of mathematics. Yeah? And this 55,000 with 55,000, you would have to pay 25%. Yeah? And this is the system. It's a really strange system. You know, in Austria and Germany, we have progression. It's they are classical progressive system. Here you have a local tax, monthly tax 10%, and then you have this yearly tax, which is filed in May. You get the decisions between May and never. No, it's working between May and autumn, and you have to explain, especially in the ITC sector. I always say to clients, explain your ITC people that there will be additional tax which they have to pay, and not that they come and are angry because they don't understand the system and say you pay, and you say no, I don't pay. We have a contract. Then I will go. I have a HR company too, and we are very aware of this. How to say, these people ITC are very asked. I have seen a salaries above 5,000 euros net a month, and you have to be really clear with these people. This is his obligation, or yes, or you say yes, we will pay out the bonus that you can pay it. But for example, this is a good advice to think about this. Additional advice is ask us how to structure the salary, because you agree 1,000 euros, but it's not like this. You have to structure it somehow with some vacation money, meal money, this money, and it's and at the end. I always say, dear clients, say them you will get paid out 1,000 euros, but we structure then in the contract this, that in this moment it would be 1,000 euros, and then it's compliant with the law.
Because the other Balkan countries like Bulgaria, Macedonia, Bosnia, Kosovo, they have 10% flat tax simply like that. So that's a difference to Serbia, in fact.
Yeah, I have to say, I have a holding in Slovenia. It's you know how this works. I was long in Slovenia from 92 operative working to 2002. 10 years, and I founded my holding there, and a lot of my shares are via Slovenia. And I had a bad experience in the last years that the Slovenian tax authorities is very keen to check what you really receive. And if I would receive dividends from a country with 10%, I would have to tax this again in Slovenia, and this was not the idea. This you have to have in mind. It's too low somehow. It could be a problem, but it's really depending in which country you are. If you have Netherlands, maybe it's not a topic. But for example, for Slovenia, it's really a topic, and I can say to you, they are also. I said we made such small dividends payouts certain times. Nothing special, and. They were really digging and getting the decision, and thank God they don't ask translation. But I was a little bit wondering what can happen. Additional thing, what you have always to have in mind is capital gain tax. Some countries have this thing: if you have more than 50% of real estate in the company, then the right of taxation is in, for example, in Serbia. The DDTA in Serbia, with most of the countries, is like this. This is a thing when you do this is maybe the first really big decision you decide to do something in the region. Which country is the founder from? It's really important. Can only advise also to spend some money on this, to get one good advice, because it could make really troubles on the end of the when you cannot change later so easy such decisions. Yeah.
About the VAT system in Serbia, how harmonized with European VAT system is it already?
I was today, how to say it, very, I cannot be friendly. Yeah? I was the organization in Bavaria, which asked me to give the manuscript, yeah, what I talked on Monday, and they said, "You don't understand. I have no manuscript. I'm always talking free, yeah? But I will rework the presentation because I have only two bubbles." With highlights, yeah? And I was now writing in the morning the bubble for what I said and what I would like to add. The problem is that there was a harmonization 2005, yeah? And then piece by piece, it was changed, the law, and the practice is a totally different story. And now we have the situation that we have a VAT law by Frankenstein. Yeah? And I would, if I would be minister, I would say, we go back, we take all jurisdiction from European courts. This is a client can argue, a taxpayer can argue that he did it in accordance with European jurisdiction, and he can. This is accepted. Yeah? The reality is, for example, return of VAT for foreigners. Yeah? It's a horror. I never am sure. It should be very clear what could be returned on. I could tell you one day some very strange stories, and I cannot say. I have to say, a lot of things in Serbia are getting really better or are good, but VAT is getting worse. Yeah? And I hate this because you have to be aware, yeah, that VAT is a really tax, it's 20%, yeah, which can hurt your liquidity. If you get it late, you hurt the liquidity, or you get it never, you can hurt the, it hurts the liquidity. Yeah? And I'm really, I will say, pissed off it, because like a really experienced consultants, I do VAT now 25 years. Yeah? It's really not nice to say it, but there are a lot of risks. And you know, tax advisory is in hours, and tax audits can be very long and a lot of costs, and it's not good. It should be changed, and I'm not sure that the ministry is aware. It's more used like a tax, not a money printing machine, and I'm really totally, how to say, disappointed. Yeah? Because I don't have the feeling that it's getting better. I have now a case which is very interesting. A large building is erected. There are metal parts, constructive parts. Yeah? They are imported by, I don't know, it's not important, a lot of lorries, but the invoice is very clear. First floor, ground floor, ninth floor. It's also for a technical idiot. You can take all these imports, and then you can see what happened with these parts. These parts are only usable for this building. Yeah? And if these parts would not be here, the building will collapse. Yeah? Or it wouldn't be erected. Yeah? That means now the inspector says, Fali, još jedan papir. One paper is missing. Yeah? And then it's not, you know, it's not like in a fair way. Yeah? Then it's done in a way that it's, how to say, an inspector could say, okay, I understand if it's okay, but he can also say no. Yeah? And we have now in this case, we made appeal and said it's obvious that the goods are here because it's obvious. Yeah, you can see it. Everyone would understand it. Yeah, and he was insulted. And then such a small player in the game could we will maybe need 2-3 years to get the money back. the project maybe lasts 6 months. Yeah? And I don't think that this is good, how to say, marketing for Serbia. They fear often that, you know, I'm talking openly, because I think such things should be shared. And there are things getting better and working, but then in very special cases like this, it's then really horrible. And you know what I don't like, at the end, to include the embassy, to make this a political issue. We will talk later about somehow corruption. I told it in this presentation on Monday. I called it tender documentation, and not using this word. But at the end of the day, you are done and forced to do things which maybe could help, but maybe make the things worse. And you are desperate. And I think you know by now that I'm not fearful, that I really have knowledge. But when I say what we should do now, it's not very. I can you say somehow it's maybe a little bit harsh. I love to live in Serbia, but from a professional perspective, I hate to work here. What is the problem? I'm troubleshooter. All problems coming to me. And then you see someone is deciding this way and this way and this way and this way, and it's everything is contradictory, and because this tax authority has this opinion and this and this, and this is really a problem. I hope they would make a central unit which makes a first decision, like in Swiss, to say, okay, do this in this way, and it would be okay. And I will say in a different way. We are working only for really good clients which are compliant to the law. We have no clients which are problematic. If we have a problematic client, we kick them out. We had such cases, we found it out, and we finished this. That means our office has the image that these are good clients. It means you don't have to come to us with the perception of fraud or some playing games or so. We are doing compliant tax or accounting work. And then you get the feeling they are coming and saying they are doing something wrong, and trying to find something what is not existing. Okay, one paper may be missing, but you can also, like a tax auditor, which is very free, how to say, to invent some new paper you never heard about. I had now a case where he said, yes, you should have a confirmation that the work of the that the sub-supplier which worked on these metal parts has this done by some standards. What the fuck for VAT is this relevant? And it was the case because the client transported these metal parts, metal raw metals profiles, to this location, not to pay additional transport. The client at all don't have a warehouse. And then the inspector said, when started the subcontractor on this materials? I said, I don't care. It's maybe an insurance issue if, for example, a fire destroys the material. When is the risk? How to say? Who cares? Takes the risk? I would discuss this with insurance, but not with VAT. It's not a VAT issue at all. And you know, sadly, a lot of paperwork. It's really annoying. And we work in a very efficient way. We all, and I think. This could be better in the future with a little bit more reasonable understanding of what the client is at all doing.
Alexander, in the World Bank doing business, Serbia is at 44, which is quite good actually. But in the area of paying taxes, it's only at 85 of the world, basically not so good. My question now, how is the digitalization of the tax system administration? Do you work on a day-to-day basis, everything digitally, or how is that working today in Serbia?
Yes, from the side of the state, it's getting better and better. We have a lot of EU Prava cross and so on and so on. It's better and better. We have again people which are working on the field. We call it field consultants or field advisors, which are doing this then. You have then the networking is in the whole region. Networking is very important, that you know someone, you get some information, maybe informal and so on. From our side, COVID helped us to digitalize us very fast. There are clients which don't wish this, yeah, but the way is definitely in the right direction. And I have the feeling that Serbia is really, how to say, improving. I will say another thing which is related. For example, there is a register. It's called APR, it's business register. And now we have this big story about foreigners which are insured in foreign countries. For example, Austrian director is also director in Serbia, but insured in Austria, have to pay some taxes, some social contribution and taxes also in Serbia. It's the last 2 years, a hot story, and it's getting hotter and hotter. And at the end of the day, it has some logic, but it was clear in the past, no taxation, no social contribution, but because the person is employed abroad and pays their obligatory social contribution. And now we are using the same system like the tax authority. They taking down from the system the old documents. They see exactly when someone was appointed, see exactly when was dissolved. I had the case with a Netherlands guy, which was very funny. Yeah? Funny in the sense of, I can't find this guy. Yeah? And then we found out he was 7 months there, or the tax authority found out that he was 7 months director. And then I advised my client, yes, we should better that we define some small amount like tax basis and pay it, because when I tried to find the guy to convince him that he should do everything what I tell him, my fee would be 10 times higher than this small amount. Yeah? And my advice is don't do it. But the other side, the company was in liquidation. If it's not solved, then you won't be liquidated in time. It means this system is very good. We are experts in big data. It's really, Serbia has so good systems, and partly also public systems, mainly public system, but if you don't know Serbian or Cyrillic, then it's not so easy for a foreigner to use it, but it's really, I have so good, we are doing such business intelligence really, really, really good. And also the tax authority is using, for example, they have Amadeus. Amadeus is from Bureau van Dijk. It's the international accepted transfer price software, and we are checking always what could the tax authority see. For example, in the case of this client, we saw where he is employed, and we said then, yes, he is a multi-functioner. He has a lot of positions, and from an ordinary management salary, we said 5% is okay, and it goes through. Yeah, but you have also always. My argument is, first we have to see what the tax authority sees, and then we can convince them on the basis of this factual data. Yeah? It's very convincing. If they don't believe our print out your version of this, and it's really helping. It's our experience. At the end of the day, you have also to negotiate, and they are reasonable. And I think it will come a time where there will be obligatory tax bases which will be a little bit higher. Then we have maybe more problem. To understand, this is not a salary issue. That's a so-called directors pay on a contract of the obligations of the director, which is only taxed with 16%, and often also a client is using this to get quite low taxed low tax director's salary, which is accepted if the DTA is existing, is accepted from the other side. It's called it's part of the in German it's Progressionsvorbehalt. It would be if this amount would increase in Austria, for example, the overall yearly income of the director, then it would increase also his average tax in Germany. But in practice, it's like this: the people are in general earning so on the highest level, and then it has no influence. It is a good model. Maybe to say one thing that I don't forget it. We invented a very simple thing. We don't pay out this money via bank account. Yeah, we pay out it in dinars with cash desk. Why? We don't like the whole AML procedure for the people, for the directors. It's very complicated. Second reason, it would be a lot of confirmations in between, and we always advise take the money, dinars, change it somewhere in euros. If it's less than 10,000 euros, you can take it over the border. If it's more, really declare it. It could be a problem, and it's very simple. Work around solutions. That's our way to avoid problems, because general AML is complicated, and also that could happen. I had today a mail where a client of ours said, I could not anymore send money to abroad to my family. What is happening? I have no idea. Someone changed, some bank changed some procedure, some how to say, some things changed, and we have now to find out why is this like this. But be aware, 100 banks, 100 solutions. Yeah, it's really annoying. And here, I would also wish that it's getting a little bit easier and more transparent.
Alexander, in doing business of the World Bank, I saw that it is at 94 only in the access to electricity. Is there a problem with the access to electricity in Serbia today, or it is simply bureaucracy and takes a lot of time?
I have to tell you, I really did not look at this actual, and in the past, I really rarely looked. And I was wondering, like a person with insight, that things which are then the reasons, that I could not explain this. Electricity is a very good topic. 15 years ago, a client of mine built a large printing house, and then they needed the Electro Vojvodina. It was in Vojvodina, and it was not possible that they get a connection. It was quite a more than 1 or 2 megawatts serious thing. And at the end of the day, what happened? Someone knows someone who knows the director of Electro Vojvodina. And at the end of the day, they got it very fast. They were also paying everything, that we get it right. They paid the cable, they paid everything. But in Serbia, the trafo station as such is going over in the ownership of Electro Vojvodina or whomever, and it was no money paid. I'm sure that this was like this, but what was it was. We call it VIP, VIP veze poznanstvo, like VIP status. You know what is VIP status? But veze poznanstvo means contacts, knowing the right people. And the guy, what is the problem? This person showed in this moment that he has power and to solve the problem. And this position that you, like a large user, which is paying serious money for electricity, don't get it. They should knee in front of you and ask, please, could we do this? And this thing abroad is a problem. Yes, how to say it? It could be complicated. For example, in my industrial zone, we have enough electricity, but it was not easy to get it. It lasted a long time, but we had also for water, we needed a lot of time for the permissions and so on and so on. But it could, for new projects, be a topic. And for example, when I make a sale of my land in the industrial zone, I say we have everything. We have now also a wastewater plant, which is now operational end of the year, everything will be fine. The state invested, thank you. Yeah? They invested on 28 places. And for us, it's the last, how to say, topic which is solved. Yeah? But if you don't have, it was 10 years only circled in on the plan, there will be such a plant. I never believed it. Now it's here. I think the decision about the inputs has to be, this should be in a feasibility where you go. Absolutely, it has to be here. I can tell you, when I started the project with the industry park, 2004, they said to me, there will be a highway exit. It's better you build your zone there. They said, no, I will go there where the exit is. Yeah? And thanks God I did it, because never this exit was built. Yeah? That means don't think that these people are now extorting some money or something. They have not the power. Yeah? I have in my zone the situation that some 100 meters of road are not paved. The municipality is small, quite a third, has the qualification as third grade municipality, which is quite poor. They don't have the money. Yeah. The next project we will start, we will say, okay, we will pave it, but we will compensate it with construction fees. But we have to agree up front. I cannot pave it and say, now I don't pay the construction fee or lower the construction fee. You have to agree it. Yeah? I had a project with exactly what you said, production wood processing plant, very small. And then the landlord did not have the, our director, which is fired, made this mistake. No one asked me. I was involved later, and it was quite a horror. You know, it's time, and you lose in production 6 months or 4 or 5 months. And in the final stage, we decided then to move the whole production. The machines never were installed, but the 5 people were employed. I think 5, yeah, it's a catastrophe. It could be a problem. Good feasibility. There are so good institutions, yeah. RAS, for example, the development agency, yeah. It's helping investors, giving you some, how to say, good advice. Ask a lot of, how to say, free of charge sources. Also, I would lead some first talk without charging anything, what I think about your project. I'm very honest, like entrepreneur. I say what I think about it, where you should be, and so on and so on. Because the main 2 points are workforce, and that you have all utilities. If you wait for something, it's really not that they don't want. Yeah? It could be also that they don't want, but it's a problem that something what is only, how to say, they're obliged to this. You cannot sue them. And okay, there are also projects where the money is here. You see it, it's a political project. Then you can count on this. That, for example, ZF in Pančevo got everything what they asked. Yeah, I'm sure, because they invested, I don't know, 100 million. In the list, it's, I think, 100 million investment. Yeah? But it could be a problem. A good question. What I more see as a problem, I had this Strom, negative energy on my list in this presentation on Monday. But I took energy price. I cannot believe that the energy price, I know in Ukraine is a little bit cheaper than Serbia. Serbia is a little bit more expensive than Ukraine. And the price will go up because we have feed-in tariffs, because the Serbian gas company is buying gas for more money than they are selling. It's a political issue for voters. That means I think you know what it was, the energy revolution in Northern Macedonia. I call it like this, that the FIN had not so a funny time a lot of years back. I think also in Bulgaria there was such an issue. I think energy price is very sensitive. And I don't expect, like in Germany, that the government is saying the people will bear it and the industry have no problem with this. it will the way around. Yeah? I think I was only not making some people happy with this question, because this question is a serious issue when you have energy intensive production. Yeah? But I think it's a fair and true picture to ask what is the plan. Yeah? I was really shocked. I was not following up. I can only say the rumors. Workers from the Serbian state energy company EPS were striking in the mines because they fear with the new construction of plants, thermal plants, they will lose the job. And the ministry said it won't happen, it won't happen. But you see how nervous people are. Yeah? I say Serbia depends on coal. Yeah, it's fact. It's not good coal in general. I'm not expert for this, but it's my feeling. And you build then better good plants with modern technology and make energy. Without energy, it's not possible. And we had now very interesting anti-environmental protests for small hydro plants, and there were really riots. I say it in this way. Why riots? I know an investor, it's not my client, which is all papers, everything was fine, and they put holes in their pipeline. They put explosives. They destroyed the whole infrastructure. You can rebuild it, but I don't think that he has the plan. And then my question is very simple. It's true that this was in a sensitive area, but the papers are okay. And now dear state of Serbia pay out. Yeah? The guy invested, has some lost earnings, pay out, yeah? And show reasonable rule of law. Let's say it in this way. Show that you understand that someone made a mistake, and maybe there was also corruption involved for getting people. I don't know. Yeah? Make an how to say, find it out. Yeah? And if there was something, show us that you hang these people which maybe made something wrong. But if you make all permits proper, but this is a region where really there should not be such a plant, then you have to pay the price. And that's entrepreneur is really checking now on such issues. Maybe it's not time, but they had a similar case with animal waste distinction plant in Energo Zelena. It's a case which is really interesting, and at the end they found out that no one is dumping the animal waste. Yeah? But I was director of a fiduciary director of another project. I have some insight, yeah? In sense of how this thing is working, yeah? And yes, they got some guarantees. There will be enough waste. There were not enough waste. The plant cannot work. Yeah? And they are now in arbitration. I think Washington arbitration, and I'm sure that Serbia will lose and will pay $100 million, maybe less, maybe more, but not cheap money. And I think how the state is dealing such cases will show how far we really come. Yeah.
Alexander, let me ask you about property rights and about the cadastre system of Serbia. How reliable is the data? How secure is investing in land in Serbia today?
I'm in love with GeoSerbia. GeoSerbia is a platform which allows you, it's open platform. I think it's at somewhere also Cyrillic writing and so on. It's maybe not so easy to handle for a foreigner, but I could show you practical. I will try that. Maybe this is a interesting, a little bit interesting, how to say, option. One moment. Okay. Maybe it will open. Do you allow me to share the
Yes, how should I do that?
I don't know. You have to allow to share that I can share something.
Yes, I have.
Okay,
I've
great.
clicked it on.
Okay, great. I will try to do this. Yeah. And
Yes.
now we see something. What? Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I can see it. It's on
Yes.
the video.
Great. And this is Serbia. And now I will show you my project. Yeah. Very simple. You go inside. Yeah. And
This is your own project. This is your
no. Serbia is a state-owned public register. I have nothing. I did not pay anything. It's for everyone. How to say usable? Yeah. But you have to. I worked some 100 hours on this to understand how it's usable. Yeah. For example, we have here Belgrade. Yeah. Here we have Novi Sad, and now we go along the highway to my project. Go. I could find it also easier. I know where it is exactly, but I would like to show it how to say this is my project. Yeah, this is Feketic. Here you see the conjunction, and now you see my 3 projects. Yeah, it's not my factories. Yeah, first problem, which is very small problem, is this factory here is finished. It is 3 years in operation, but you see old pictures. They're using old pictures. Okay, this is from time to time a problem. You see here, this is the bakery, and here is the mill, the mill for wheat, yeah, for cereals. Yeah, you see this. You can see this. Yeah? Then we can see my zone is stretching here along. We have 500,000 square meters usable land. Yeah? And now I'm negotiating with a client. We will buy some land. And now you see 3 parcels. I'm offering this, and this parcel. Yeah? And behind every parcel, there is, he cannot decide, we make it in this way. If he needs 1 hectare, this is approximately half a hectare or 1.5. Yeah? And we will offer him maybe in the front row, it's a little more expensive, or in the back row, this, yeah. But he can check this, or if you're an investor from abroad, I could also make a presentation, and you know exactly what we are talking about. Yeah? Here's the main energy supply. Here's our well. Yeah? Here's the gas conjunction. Here you don't see it, but it's existing. Yeah? It's this wastewater plant. Yeah? And you can exactly find out if you now say, okay, Alexander, nice. I need following data. Yeah, I say now line. Tell me from here. I hope I'm not now to here. How long this is? It's 526 meters. Or logically, it's here a bend inside. I use now this a little bit more exact. Yeah. Architect would now say he's sloppy. It's good 530 meters, this main road in the industrial zone. Yeah? And if this is not genius, this approach, then I don't know. I love it. I'm in love. And then you have a lot of options I cannot show you. I can get a digital wie sagt man, Grundbuchsauszug, excerpt from the groundbooks.
Kataster, yeah? The ownership list.
Kataster, yeah. And it's not a perfect, but you see what you need. Yeah. We always take also the original, which is which you have to organize, but it's also not complicated. Only check some things. Yeah. And logical, I will tell you very simple. In the north, in the Vojvodina, this is perfect. This is practical. 100% safe, but I always say, please make a due diligence. What I'm telling the investors, do take a so-called information, how it's called, it's land information. That means you get them from this parcel. And I say it now, I like for parcel 1577/5 Kataster Feketic, I need now information what I can build there. Yeah, then I get the exact information what I can build there, and the next step is then that you go to the municipality and discuss the topic. Very rarely could be some strange restitution topics. In principle, this is solved everything, but for example, I have here a small problem. The problem is that this looks like a road, yeah, and it's not a road. It's a canal. It's a water for water in the agriculture fields to go down. Yeah, I would like to have this like a road. Yeah, you see where I'm showing. Yeah, and this could need some time. Or, for example, I plan to redo this structure to make it another sketch. I have first to join the parcels, then I can split them. It's not a thing of days, it's maybe weeks, definitely not years or months. Yeah, but you have to know your job. Yeah, and what is our approach? I'm often coordinating such project, and I bring then people in the boat. For example, it's not my lawyer doing from Belgrade, my law team. This I have a special lawyer in this municipality, Mali Ijosh. She was working former in the municipality Cadastre and in the municipality. She will do this within some days, and if there are trouble, she will say what is really going on and what could be a problem. And you need the right team, yeah, and you cannot only rely on such data. You have a little deeper to dig, but again, my main argument is you have to know from who you are buying. Yeah, you are buying at the end from an Austrian Aktiengesellschaft, stock, not listed on the stock exchange. We have some liability, some, how to say, we have some credibility. And if there should be in the contract a guarantee that we guarantee for all possible damages in such a transaction, the Austrian company will also guarantee beside the owner of the land. Yeah? It means very important is that you know all facts that you can make a good decision. I will now stop the sharing. I think you got it.
Very good system.
Yeah. Okay. Now you in the north it's better. In the south there was in the north there were Maria Theresia. In the south there are Tapie. Yeah. And how to say? I would check. There is a rule, but it's Южнее, тужнее. More south, more tragic. It's not a good translation. Not get it wrong. It's an old proverb in Serbian language. I have to quote it. Yeah, I would do double checking in the south, in Vojvodina. You know, I'm analyzing, and then I can find out every owner. Yeah, I can send them letters. Because this is okay. If there's a public release, I can use this information and ask, for example, for tendering my land for farmers. And I say, I have this plot. Would you like to make a tender? Write me until this and this. I have a genius farmland investing project, which Serbia somehow killed, but not really. We have workarounds. Some years ago, I think 3 years, they said that foreigners are not anymore allowed to buy agricultural land. And I have now, if I would like to have some land, like we have to do everything over companies, legal entities. If I would like now to buy some apple trees in Feketic, I have to be there 2 years, in sense that I have my seat, my living permit there, then I can buy. Yeah, logically, what would a creative man do? I would buy it over my wife or someone else, which is Serbian, and then maybe do some loan on this. And then in the case of troubles, if this fiduciary agreement is not valid or somehow void, to try to get the land back. But this would not be any major problem. I would never do this for. We build a structure. We have legal entities. We do everything how it has to be. This is too important. Yeah? And in principle, legal entity can buy, but we had a lot of very strange situations that they tried before even the law was accepted by the body. They did sabotage some of our activities. And thanks God, when the right time is coming, when Serbia makes too much trouble, I will put out these cases because, we Europeans love Europe, but we also love our property. Yeah? And then I would like that my ambassador, the EU ambassadors are talking with Serbia, how this is really to understand. Because I love Rus, but please, you cannot don't forbid something what is not forbidden. Yeah. At the end, it was okay because I changed my mind, but it's not good. Yeah, and it's very interesting how they try to stall us to buy time, and this experience was also a little bit interesting for me because I had really great experience. But here in the Cadastre, it was industrial land. It's registered like industrial land, but before it was agro land. Everything was agro land before, and there was a very interesting legal battle which we stopped because it makes no sense to make trouble, but we never forget. It made me nervous. And I do a lot of very strange projects in sense of complex things where we really think about what can happen in the future. We really try to be to foresee problems, and I think you don't should foresee too much problems because then you lose you don't like the game anymore. But you have to think. You think about. I had now in Novi Sad a case which is extremely complicated, and I told my clients, we take the land, bring it in as a contribution in kind in a new entity, sell this entity in the group, and then I would like to see that there would be a problem with the Cadastre. It didn't do it. Okay, it was a little bit extreme. It was hart am Wind gesegelt. I can't translate it, but it was a little bit nasty. Yeah? And now we have a small problem which we wouldn't have if the entity where a new entity would be in the game. And yes, okay, now we have a new game, and we will now the other side made some stock transactions, and I made the proposal that we buy one share. ECOVIS will buy one share, and I will sue them for not making a takeover bid. Maybe they don't like this, but I'm very nice guy. But when the other starts to play dirty, we are also dirty player, always by the law. And here it also the point that the other side has a time issue, and we can stall 2-3 years, and this could lead to an agreement, because I like to be mediator and bring the people together, because in principle they can agree. But now they are angry. The word is in English pissed off, both sides, and we have no possibility to get an agreement at all. This leads a little bit far away. I would like really. I will take this YouTube. I will check this doing business lists and this and that. I would like to see the arguments why this is better or worse. I would really go back some years. I'm really interested when I have in summer a little bit more time, because from a perspective on the ground, like you see now ground on the level of a parcel, maybe things are looking a little bit different. It could be a topic, but maybe it's not at all such a trouble.
Alexander, how easy and complicated is it to get a building permit, a construction permit, and how corrupt is that process in Serbia? Or is it...
Outside of the big cities, it's really good. I invested in Vekitic out of one reason. The only thing they asked for me was bring us workplacing places. That was the main. It was always like this. Why? They understood this very poor village on the highway needs only workplaces. Point. In Belgrade, you have a lot of institutions. It should be everything centralized and so on and so on. But you can imagine, I live in a building which has 61 tenants, owners. And if I would like to make now, because I have a penthouse on the end of the building, I would like to make for my whole last floor to such a solar system, or I don't know which the technology will be chosen is important, not important. But now I need 51% of the owners to get approval. Yeah? And they practically don't get anything, only the 7th floor would get heat. Yeah? I would invest, I would invoice them this heat. I would have immediately a problem because maybe someone says you are not apps, you're not allowed to sell heat and so on. That has maybe some minor legal issues we can overcome. But I need the majority. In real estate, you need oil permit. Oil, it's called Zaglasnost. Everyone has to say yes, yeah, and I think it's 42. I forget this. I have an expert, Alexander Obsenica, which is really a great expert. He calls it library. The library. If you're not a member of the library, you cannot build anything in Belgrade. We will have now end of month 28, 29 a real estate conference. I will be proud moderating logistics industry and something crypto, a new alternative finance. I like this very much. And it's always interesting how complicated things can get. In a moment, a lot of buildings are built. A lot of competition is in Belgrade related to residential. The prices are jumping. And I think that unfair competition could stall you with some paper. Yeah? Because it could be, I personally would not invest directly to construct residential in Belgrade. I would be partner who gives the money, who has a good partner which knows the game. And for example, my concept was, okay, you start to build this money you have. Okay, you build the first floor, the ground floor. Okay, I will buy the first floor and ground floor. I give you money that I have something. But again, it's a topic that how to say to finish it. It's the most important topic, and I would ask the other side. They have a project finance from an international bank. Yeah. Okay, there are also some local banks which could be fine. That I'm sure that the building will be finished. Yeah. But to give someone money only because I wouldn't do it. It's very hard to control. And I always say the creativity on the Balkans is very, very large. Not get it wrong, but I saw things which I could not believe. Yeah? Now, turn the thing back, what I said about mini hydro plants. Now you imagine there's an Austrian bank which is expert for this. Yeah? They have, I think, 90% of the credits for this project. And now the political wind is changing because the voters are in discussion. Someone is destroying such a project and a lot of money is invested. Really, pipes are there, a lot of things. They never will be finished. And now the bank had given on the level of the permit who the bank should sue. Okay, the investor, but the way further. Or I have a insurance brokerage company where my concept is always I have 25%. I like in these projects not to be the main guy, because if you're the main guy, you have also the main. I'm para insurance expert. Yeah? And believe me, this dispute with the insurances, I would like to see, because what is also stupid in Serbia, if you can get a local insurance, you are not allowed to get an international insurance. So you have to insure here. And that we can make as a broker, international broker, we can get a reinsurance from abroad and then fronting this in Serbia. But believe me, local insurances would not do this in this way. And then this case, business friend, I call it. I will follow up the project of the guy, and it's also for him a hell. It's not like this. I make a claim against the government. This will be issue. I think 10 years could it last? And who has then at the end the bad cards? The state, the bank, the insurance? I don't know. I'm not. So I have no idea. Or the investor. Coming back, yes, for industrial things outside of the big, large cities, every municipality is very helpful. You can see what is built. I could now check who is the owner of the first factory, of the second factory. I can talk with the people. I can find them and ask how it was. You can make a lot of research alone without having costs. Your own staff could do this, but at the end of the day, what I'm doing with big data is I read the data and make. Yesterday I made seven lines for a client, and I said what I most like is the guy has leasing, no expensive car on leasing, only lorries and combis and production stuff. I love this, because in general, clients coming to me which have problems with liquidity, and then I first look at the leasing register, which is public register, and then I decide if I think about the project, because if someone has money for an expensive car, then they don't need my support, because he will die anyway. Anyhow, I don't know. It's offending my status of an entrepreneur. Really, I hate this, because I'm not talking about an old car, because this register is also following up old data. I'm not talking about 10-year-old Mercedes. But I'm talking, if you yesterday leased a Mercedes and today you came for support, I won't use the word I have no in mind. I will polite. I have no time. No, yeah.
Let me ask you about corruption in Serbia, because in Transparency International ranking, Serbia is 94 only. It's far behind Romania, Bulgaria, and they are all at 70 around. So what's your experience and what needs to be improved here in the sector of corruption perception?
You have to understand from so now I'm speaking from the perspective of an ECOVIS partner. We cannot be involved in corruption. What our clients theoretically do with someone else, we cannot know. We are not police. But from a professional perspective, we are not involved. I never forget a client 15 years ago and said, gave some 100 marks, or what, I'm not sure, shillings or whatever it was, to the court that the foundation goes faster. I said, to whom? I go now in the court and shout, who would like to have 100 euros? It's not possible. No, it was so funny. And then we engaged a lawyer, which were there in the city, and he proposed his fee. And I'm in the material expense or in the fee, I'm quite sure there was some money included. I don't know it, and I don't want to know it. But to make it more serious, you see, I think make it on different steps. I think really that on the level of the tenders, there is a political influence that you cannot get really large projects without political support. It means that you have the right advisor, the right this and that. This is because always, I had now a case which I was very, how to say, negative, because it was not corruption in classical sense, but the client was forced to open a branch office in advance, because the branch office was only due for tax purposes, without even having the tender, because it should be in the tender also the branch office. In the general, we write the client will open some legal entity in Serbia to fulfill his tax and social contribution, his obligations, yeah, from tax side, from social contribution side. And I got, it's a large public company, I got the feeling to make it so complicated, so unsafe that the management from Austria will say, we don't care. And it was like this, that they said, really, we don't care, not out of this reason, of other reasons, but also all other said, we don't want this. And now we wait for the new tender. And it's a pity if such a company don't say exactly, describes what they are thinking about this and this issue or best practice. Yeah, we do this with our partners this and this way. You can do it also this way. Why not bring transparency? All this senseless stalling means higher costs for the end user. You know, we know. I never forget this. Also, 15 years ago, when I had some clients in the cosmetic industry. Do understand? It's dealership in the sense of you have some producer abroad and then he's selling these products here in Serbia. Yeah? And then we discussed a little bit and then we had this comment from the client, yeah, the guys there on the custom side, yeah, are all wearing 1,500 euros Armani suits, yeah, the real one, yeah, not the false ones. And yes, yeah, it's getting better, but there are some how to say, some areas where you can get really in trouble because someone has VIP, Veze poznanstvo, has the better connections than you. Especially, I would never advise some, for example, some club or restaurant or bar to open from a foreigner. Yeah? I'm quite sure that you cannot manage the problems you are. I'm wrong again. Yeah? Guys in Novi Sad made a craft beer shop, and they are very happy. But maybe they accepted the rules. Yeah? I had apartments, Airbnb before Airbnb, yeah? In Novi Sad. And I had a small lobby, and there I had a legally registered coffee house. My logic was that the guys which are working behind the reception desk could also sell some drinks and so on. This was a nice experience of horror. Yeah? Every week they came to took my Pago. Pago is a juice from Austria, which I very love, and there was former clients in Slovenia from us, and also in another country. And then they give it to the some quality measurement institute, and I got a bill for 50 euros that they say this is fine. Corruption, not corruption. Yes, interesting. Fahrlehrschein and papier. It's missing, one paper is missing. And then it was great situation. The last time when an inspector come in and said, yeah, where are papers? Which papers? You are in my living room. But this is a company. No, you're my office. If I like you, I will give you a coffee. I give you whatever I have here. And if you don't like, you get nothing. And I don't see that you have any reason to be here. And he moved out. The business model stopped for the small cafe, but also my problems on this level stopped. I had 16 units. I used flats like Airbnb. It was a quite great idea before Airbnb, but it was 10 years too early. And you cannot imagine the fighting between the owners of the other flats. Yeah, it was quite well organized, but not perfect. Yeah, good experience. Our holding company sits in Novi Sad. We have 250 square meters for 2 people. It's really great. It's luxury, and I saved this flat out of the project. And from time to time, when I'm in Novi Sad, I'm representing in our offices. But I'm sure if it would work like it should work, we would now be owners of the whole building, we buy out everyone. But I have to be really, we did not have the right sales platform. It was analog sales, and more or less what we earned costed the people. Too early, and this is can happen. I'm now lost a little bit. Okay, corruption. It's getting better. It's getting more sophisticated because the people have also they're frightened. Yesterday, a very important person of the Belgrade SNS party was arrested with money in the found money, 300,000–400,000 euros. I don't know, a lot of money in his flat, and this money obviously is coming from permits for residential. And they are cleaning up their own party too. But this is this. I cannot say now. This is a model. I don't know how it's really called in English, but in principle, you employ 10% more people to fire the weakest 10% to have always fresh blood. I don't like this system. I'm not this type like, but it's looking like the party is now cleaning up, and they do a lot of things. If you would get a list of cleaning up, it's not looking bad, but it seems more like this model to me as to make really changes. Corruption, I don't know. Ask me something if you have a concrete or more clear question.
No, I think in general, all over the Balkans, it's getting much better with e-government, digitalization, and also EU accession. So it's also important to inform investors about the progress in that area. Of course, it's not perfect, but that's a big battle for the coming decades to win. Let me ask you about infrastructure, because that's very important for investors to access physically also Serbia. And what's the position on highways, railways? There's a lot of talk about the Silk Road, and a lot of infrastructure is happening already. Are you satisfied with the progress, and are your customers and clients satisfied with the infrastructure situation in Serbia?
Yes, in principle, it's really going a lot, happening a lot. I was helping a Australian-Danish student with his dissertation, or I don't know, with an important paper, China investing in Serbia. And I was really, when I do something, I do it right. And then I took the press releases. It was free of charge. I was honored to help about China investing or being present in Serbia in the last 6 months. And I was shocked. I have a whole file full of press releases, how active China is. And what they are building, or for example, for a very important bridge in Novi Sad, 3 of the first of the tender are Chinese companies. That means Chinese, and maybe someone else. I'm not criticizing at all. It's China. A lot of things are going on. Imagine my project. If this water treatment plant would not be built by the state, I could not build this, because it's not possible that I clean the water. I can only locally, factory by factory, do some solution, which is a half solution. I'm very thankful that this happened. When I started in Serbia 2002, I drove first time to Novi Sad, and then I was driving over a bomb hit. And you can imagine, it was a catastrophe. I was shocked, I was not prepared for this. And then in Novi Sad, I saw ponton bridge over the Danube and so on. A lot of things happened. I think partly, Mr. Obsenica today told me, too expensive, too much on the other side. I ever remember Kohl, Councillor Kohl, and he said, for the East, we will make, how it's called?
Landscapes.
Yes. So this. And I say I like this approach more than not to do it, because I think every part of a country has a right to be, it's a fair game. And I think now really highways, I'm waiting for the highway from, in principle, from Slavonia to Romania to Temeshvar that will cross my location maybe 10 kilometers lower or higher from me. Perfect. Yeah? You know, it's really happening. We worked on a project for a bridge, railroad bridge in Novi Sad. It's totally key. Yeah, because this railroad bridge, it was a little bit late, 2 years late. Yeah, but this will now allow that railway will work properly. There also works on this these 2,100 kilometers fast trains. Yeah, but I think this will last. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are happening with the Chinese. Now I had to told today, my colleague has said, if I don't make enough wastewater in Feketich as industry, then I think from operative OPEX side, the wastewater management plant will have a problem. They need my water definitely to be a break even. Yeah, and I see it's nice to build things everywhere, but I hope that they are sustainable, because I know, for example, for some waste management water plants in the past, that they were not successful because they did not have the cash flow, and they at the end of the day, the investment, the capex was done, but the opex was negative, too long, and they closed. I fear that I hope that is good planned. I'm not at the end as taxpayer. I'm paying also the bill. Yes,
but let me ask you about the train between Belgrade and Budapest, because the Chinese promised to build such a train. It's also connecting to your industrial park in Feketich. When will it be ready?
It's not connected. We have a small station. You also can see it here. I hope I can find it here somewhere. Is the train? It's not even so far away. I'm not sure. Maybe this is this. You see, 6 kilometers, which could be prepared for freights. Yeah. Yes, it would be better to have it nearer, but this generally this fast high goes a little bit more in the west, yeah? And it would not be compatible. You cannot do the same on this fast railway line. But they're building very, very fast. I have so-called Rodbina, the father from my wife and the mother living in Verbas. And in Verbas, there are a lot of work is done. We know also from Pančevo to Belgrade, a lot of work was done. We had a project there. We feel it. When it will be really finished, I'm thinking that they are quite in timeline. Maybe it's also in 2-3 years ready. But you know, it always can happen that things are late. I like this. For example, when I came to Serbia, the highway to Subotica, where Feketich is, there was only one line, and now it's a really highway with two with line. There was only one side done. The other side was built maybe 7-8 years ago. I don't remember exactly. It was very helpful because now we have also a and pay system, a payment of tolls, electronic tolls. Everything is fine. But this, you know what the first question was from a Czech investor, which thinks about my location, how we can solve this that we don't pay toll. And then I had to say, yes, it's possible. You can drive from Subotica not on the highway to Feketich. But exactly why we planned Feketich, not to have traffic in the three villages, Feketich, Lovćenac, and Mariđas. This would be contra. And you see, it was a little bit hard for me to think about this. I did not put it in the presentation that this possibility is existing. I don't like the idea, but on the other side, it's helping to save costs. No, it's developing also the highways. There is a DP World, I think it's called DP World. We built a new harbor in Novi Sad, I think in Belgrade, there are 2 large harbors planned. The Chinese do a industrial park of 500 hectares, 10 times larger than mine. In Belgrade, nearby the new bridge which was built to Pančevo, then comment was, yeah, when the Chinese coming, no, you won't get any Chinese client. I said, it's not true. This one which don't like to be in a centralized industry zone will come to me. And there is one who wants to be independent. It's always we entrepreneurs are these independent, these spiritual guys. Yeah, we are not conformists. And there are also Chinese companies which have this style. It's not important. I really have to tell you, if I would do this research for the guy in Australian, which is living in Denmark, I would know 1/3. Yeah? But even now, after reading all this stuff, I'm not so informed because also things are steadily changing and so on and so on. But the conclusion is a lot of investment. But I would like to make a really serious comment. I was really getting very unhappy when I read the situation in Montenegro related to this 1 billion debt, which maybe brings Montenegro down. You know, 100% Chinese loan down. I was really, how to say, very negative surprised that this could happen. I know this from other countries in Africa and Asia. There are some cases. That means you have this initiative, which is great, also to pay. This Silk and Belt Road Initiative has someone also to pay. And okay, if the terms are payable, good. Yeah, but if now a country in Europe like Montenegro is maybe in default, I don't know. I was very unhappy.
Let me ask you about Russia in the energy sector, because there's a lot of talk that Russia has bought in 2008 the so-called Nafta Industria Serbia, and also that the gas pipeline. How visible is Russia? How active are Russian investors in Serbia? Do you see a lot of them? Do you hear a lot of them?
To be honest, we have 2 sides. Yeah. First of all, this was a large deal. Not in the time of SNS government. This was done in the time of democratic government. But if you take a look at the supervisory board, there all parties somehow have nice, how to say, salaries on basis being member of the board. Yeah? Let it live in this way. I think the only really investment was this investment. Russian clients, there are very few. For example, what I will do after this talk, I will go in my big database, big data, and will use a base and will exactly tell you afterwards what I have in this base. Yeah? And I expect now we make 100 material companies which has some activity in sense, not only founded without any activity. I'm quite sure that I'm quite good. Yeah? And if you say, wow, we have such data, yeah, this is big data is here possible, but you have to use it in the right way. I think that if you take a look in general, I think Eurasian your economic union is 6% of the overall exports or trade of Serbia, 6%. CEFTA is 10%, and Turkey is 3%, and European Community is 61%. Yeah, it's out of the speech of the State Secretary. I believe it. Yeah? Russia is not a factor, and they took this strategic energy supplier. And I think they took it cheap. It's not my feeling as entrepreneur. I did not make any analysis. And I think that, in general, I mentioned before that Serbia is buying gas and selling it cheaper to. At the end, it's a little bit questionable at the end of the day, because I always thought energy suppliers never, utility could go to bankruptcy. And then I have a client in the sector and we chat. I like to have also some chatting, and then I shared my opinion, and then he smiled and said, yes, we lost a lot of money in Romania. Some local energy supplier did some very bad contracts, NRV contracts, and to be honest, they got in bankruptcy because this was the way out. And I was really a little bit stunned. I did not research it, but it's 100% true. You cannot do it on the long run that things are out of balance. You can reduce staff and OPEX and so on, but I think the energy price has to rise to compensate, to make a golden zero. We're far away from that.
Let me ask you about several interesting industry sectors and how attractive and successful they are, which are the biggest investors. First of all, the famous automotive sector. What's going on in the automotive sector in Serbia?
To say it in this way, it started slowly. When I came to Serbia, there was really not a lot of automotive. My first client was auto for seats, and they developed from a small company of 100 workers to a large unit. I think today they have 2,000 workers. They moved into another network globally. I'm very sorry, but in this way we lost them. But very, very interesting. Then some years later, where they were very alone in this region, because you have always to think about who the factory is one thing. The other thing is who will work for you. Then came a large factory for also electronic parts. And immediately the price of work rose, or the good workers left for the other company. It was not so easy to manage this. I make only an input. Now we have really extreme situation. For example, Continental did a large factory on 2 places in Novi Sad and another place in Serbia. They made now a technical center with 500 engineers. I don't know exactly. ZF is in Pančevo, Brose is in Pančevo. A lot of things there. There was a company which has a seat in Peche, which is German, and they have 400 employees in the group. They have some 1,000 employees. Very successful. They started also very early, 2004 or 5. Let's 4. I think it's 4. It means it's really developing fast. And now we come in the so-called. I say this is the first phase of reindustrialization. Now we come in the second phase, where like Continental makes higher paid jobs, or Brose has some departments which are higher paid jobs. And now the key question is there enough workforce? And then the key question is, can I find my workforce? For example, in Novi Sad, there are some factories which are collecting workers over 70, 80 kilometers around Novi Sad. You can imagine now you sit 2.5 hours in the bus, or 3 hours to work a hard shift of 8. And then what is this life? I don't think so. In our project, we found it out later, to be honest. I was not so how to say, so good prepared. We will collect people with 30 minutes bus drive on one way. That means 1 hour a day around, and we pick up potential inhabitants 160,000. We have enough potential, and this is not a problem, how to find workers. And at the end of the day, the time of really cheap workforce will be over. You will find cheap workforce if it's really standard business, but the qualification rises, the salaries will rise, and this will be a trend. And don't think this figure 533. I was commenting on a post today or yesterday, I'm not sure. It was shown how the structure is, and the salary for out of public sector is not 533. It's less than nearby 400. I will be very, very careful. And why is this like this? Because a lot of public companies have high salaries. And then I made a very rude comment, or it's true. There is a city in Germany where Mr. Schwarz is living from Lidl. And in average, it's a very rich city. And I got a lot of likes because it's true. It's a discussion of average. You have to understand, my workforce, they are farmers. They are rich. They have land, which is when you take a price of 10,000 euros per hectare, they have some 100,000, partly some 100,000 euros, but they love the land. Once I forgot to rent out one parcel of land. It was the only time when I got a really rude call from the president of the municipality and said, "You're not honoring our land. The land has to bring birth fruits, to grow fruits. This is a totally other concept." And when you succeed, and I'm always telling my investors, try to make it possible when the time of harvest is. Be a little bit flexible. We know this in around Vienna. You have upper downer, how it's called, Niederösterreich. Lower Austria.
Lower Austria.
And there are a lot of factories, or maybe there were a lot of factories, which understood that their workers are farmers and find solutions that he could be main job is in the factory, the additional job is farmer, and it worked. And if you understand the mentality, you will be very satisfied. You won't have troubles with sick leave. The people, if you honor the people, then you will be honored. And this is the point. I see what is a little bit critic on the system. To be honest, main clients in the beginning were coming because of incentives, SIEPA. And this was always some political thing. I love SIEPA, they are good. Today, it's not SIEPA anymore, it's RAS. SIEPA was killed, RAS is the new development agency.
That's the State Investment Agency of Serbia.
Yes. And they are giving the incentives. And then there are, say it in this way, political wishes where factories are going. I would now also advise some client to come to my location, but I will give him other locations and I will disclose that this is my project. And maybe I will work harder without some fee for some things. But I see this quite often, that this is political when the leading party needs additional workplaces for votes. It's not illegal, it's decision of the entrepreneur. If I say I don't go there, it's fine, but it's some political steering, and now you can understand when I have 3 factories. I should, I think, have a little bit more. We will also get more because my project is called Small Steps. It's the idea to help small companies to make it without any political support, to be independent and not to be promoted by someone which maybe ask in the future a favor. And I think this idea, that's why we have also a HR company which helps to find workforce, to make analysis and so on. This approach, but definitely we are the only private industrial zone in the north. We are not even, not fair listed as a potential partner. I hope for my work to promote Serbia, I should get even status in the future, but we will see. This is a little bit irritating. And the other thing, the rumor or the false information, you don't get free land from the state. You get quite fair priced land from the state, which is reducing your incentive. You can get money or you get less money and a plot of land which is valuated 8 euros. My land is not, it's 10 euros. It's not in a far away location on the Bosnian border. You know, it's not now a price issue. It's more. It's not that you get it for free. You get less money, cash part of the incentive. But this is working very well. A very good system and very well controlled, because they had in the past really problems with this. That there were money lost, but we have to really be clean. Practically all these failed investments where the state lost money were local investors, local political connected investors, which found a way to get the right bank guarantees. And the main bank in Novi Sad, development bank, is bankrupt. You know, the bank guarantee is only valid. You remember Project Finance International Bank? I said it before. Not every partner is the right partner, but really to say RAS, this development agency, is a good organization. Really.
About the property sector in Serbia, do you recommend international investors investing in land or in property in Serbia?
You know, yes, I have to say yes, because I do it also. You have to think now always what you are doing, which risk you would like to take. I think especially land property, in the sense of land property inside the cities, you need a lot of diligence. But if you would like to buy maybe today agricultural land, which is on a good location, which you believe in future, this is a great deal. What I'm also doing, you have to understand what technology I showed you before. That means if I read here some good location, which I like, it's cool. I take then I look in this system, this cadastre system, and say, I have a client which is long my client, and said, you know, I will. He bought 10 hectares in a very good location. And I said, I will buy with investors together with you. You will have a share. Land in front of this parcel you have. Why? Because if this will be logistic, this logistic need a lot of space, which you cannot build on, because they need this space. And this land which I have targeted is not interesting for him now, because he don't want to invest more money. But I will ask investors together with me and him, because always we are never competitors of our clients or friends. Because I'm sure that a logistical company would be very happy to have a lot of land near to the highway where you cannot build, but you can have parking, and can with this optimize the size of the logistic. And now I know who is the owner, and so on and so on. I can make in the office research, and then I can say we do it. We are using our Austrian company. This is equity crowdfunding in principle. You know, there's a law, alternative finance law, and you can make a subordinate loan, and you say to the investors, you get this interest rate, you get a share of the profit, you get this and that, and it's a simple loan. You don't need any prospectus, and it's genius. But I can tell you, it's not easy to find people. I made some years ago, 5 years they try to convince to buy land for retail parks, Fachmarktzentren, retail parks with maximum 10 tenants, all more than less German. That means you have a German risk of getting your rent. You have good tenants, West European tenants. And I had the opportunity on 50 locations where I'm sure it was clear where this is going. But it was impossible to convince German investors to say, buy land there, it will rise. There will be good return. These retail parks have good returns because it's cheap to build them. I couldn't find it. Was genius story. And you see, I'm quite eloquent. Yeah, it was not possible. It was in this time, Serbia. It was really, the marketing, the PR was a catastrophe. And then came Immofinanz. They have the money, they have the knowledge, and they built, I don't know, 20. They bought and built more than 10 retail parks. Yeah, I have the list somewhere, and it was a genius move. Yeah, but you can imagine some family office which has a retail park with a DM like tenant in Serbia, what you should lose. Yeah? If you, I have experts for this, the right land, you have to have the right location and so on and so on. In this time, it was so cheap, we could flip it for tenfold. But okay, it's this opportunity is gone, but I will never forget it because I was not strong enough. Right?
Alexander, let me ask you about this Belgrade waterfront project, which is so famous. Yeah, is it happening?
Yes, it's happening. And believe me, when I was there 10 years ago, I had a meeting. There were some warehouses. It not even worth to the garages. Yeah? I was thinking I was entering a favela. I was really not feeling well. Yeah? It was crazy. And then the city made a smart move. Okay, smart move, it's always if it's happening. Yeah, it won't happen. I tell this very honest. If the city would invest in infrastructure and illegal hills would go away, then it would be a problem for the city. But it did not happen this way. That means the really strategic building this whole region. Yeah, they also, I was joking, I call him a friend, which is indirect owner of a building, which has a lot of troubles. And I said, you know, the Eagle Hills guys are showing your plot that there is no building anymore. And I think he lost his phone. Yeah, but what happened? The Eagle Hills people bought this building for a fair price. Yeah? I was not involved in a transaction, but it happened. Yeah? And it's quite interesting. It's changing a little bit this part of the city, not a little bit, totally. Yeah? I don't like that I don't see the river anymore from my favorite restaurant in the city where I always saw the river. Now I see buildings and so on and so on. There are some issues I don't like, but it's great. Yeah? I'll be honest, I have here nearby my office, we are nearby the headquarters of tax authorities, and here was developed such a monster project with 1,000 flats. They're building now the first skyscraper. Yeah? But I like it. Yeah? My dog is there very happy because he has his place being free. I'm drinking coffee. I have now 4 coffees. Coffee, we get restaurants, cocktail bars, 1,000 people which bought expensive flats. You can imagine it will bring a lot of things. I have in foot length I could go out and in 5 minutes I'm there. I like this. Yeah? I'm not against development, and especially the development from Belgrade waterfront was good, but it could be the risk. It cannot be anymore that they did not. The state would invest in a lot of things underground, and then no project would happen. Yeah? On the other hand. There were issues which are not nice, especially some years ago on the evening of the election. Some were came, some were arrested people, some were demolished all buildings in it's a so-called Savamala scandal, and up to today they are not able to find who commanded this. Yeah? And they, some guy got some slap on the wrist. Yeah? I hope I show it right. And now they found out that he got like a service that he get a legalization. That means his illegal, this flat was building was illegal, and now it's legal. Yeah? We cannot connect it, but it's not tasteful. Yeah? It's today you cannot say it anymore. Bill Cosby, I like one one of his shows, and there he said, imagine you, I serve you the best steak ever on the backside of a trash bin. This is a little bit disturbing because it shows the questionable understanding of the rule of law. Yeah, someone made a mistake, someone has to pay, and not a small policeman. There were involved high officers, and there were buggers used, not a hammer or something like this. Yeah, it is traceable. Yeah, and I think this, how to say it in English, Sturheit, stubbornness, yeah? Not to disclose because you think that you lose political power. It's not this. It would be very helpful to say, I'm strong enough, someone made a mistake, these are the guilty people, and to be honest. And it's really I'm also disturbed. Yeah, it was the right step. It should be demolished anywhere, but in the right way. Yeah, someone lost his private property, his clothes, whatever, because someone decided to make it in the night of the election, and in the morning it was done. I don't like this. Yeah? I really feel that this is making this perfect steak on the trash bin story. I know Bill Cosby is today not so popular anymore, but this is the best wording I can use.
Alexander, I read about the success of the digital sector, of the IT outsourcing sector in Serbia, that they are quite a lot contributing to the export industry today. And do you experience that? And what's your perspective on that one?
Yes, definitely. It happened. And to be honest, we have also clients in this sector, but there was a major event which frustrated a lot of freelancers. Yeah, I have to be honest. Freelancers has had the opinion that they don't get anything from the state. That's why they don't need to pay anything. Yeah, and I had a lot of conversations, and always they say, "Yeah, you don't understand. We don't pay taxes." Right. What happened? Serbia collected all data from all banks for incoming money from abroad, and then made automatic decisions. Dear freelancers, you have to pay this and that, 5 years with interest on delay. And we are now in the stage to find a compromise because there's a lot of money in the game. Yeah. And in principle, that is a little bit what was a little bit how to say not expected from the local guys. I told them a year before this, I have information from my local office in Sarajevo that they do this the same way in Sarajevo. They collect the data. Why they collect the data in Serbia? Yeah? And yes, now we are here in this phase that the Serbian government is collecting money. We will see how much money. On the other hand, you have to be aware. Yeah? My largest salary in the ITC, we have a staff leasing company too. I think the $5,000 or euros, I'm not sure, net is a salary. Yeah? There are also salaries rarely below 1,000, often between 1,000, 2,500 net, not gross, net. Yeah? It means if you take 533 euros net salary, then you know what I'm talking about. The second thing was happened, they made a law of independence test. That means they say, if you work only for one company, you have to be employed. If you have, there are a lot of criteria. Before I made a joke or wish that I would like to have more information related from the communication that I gave a written order how to proceed. In this case, this written order is, let's say, 80 pages, a little bit more, I'm not sure anymore. And they describe very well what is a connected, related, not independent person, for example, ICT guy, and what is free. Yeah? Yes, it's really a very good instruction. It has loopholes, yeah, we found quite a lot, but it's really good. Yeah. Thank you, because it helps us in the future if there would be some dispute to have an idea where we are. Yeah. Without any instruction, we would not have any idea what is going on. And the ICT sector, you can imagine, be aware. Yeah? A personal trainer in Serbia is costing good 10 euros an hour. If I have a personal trainer in Zurich, I would say it's 100 euros or 120 Swiss francs or whatever. Yeah? With such money, if you have 1,500 euros or 2,000 net, you live the life of a king. Yeah? In this country, because we can really spend. Yeah? I told today a friend of mine in Schwabing, I paid for 2 gin tonics. Yeah? I paid 25 with tip. Yeah? And here, in my, it's not my, I have a principle. It's called, if I want to drink a glass of milk, I don't need to own the cow. Yeah? And I have my former restaurant, Cafich, lobby, or whatever you call it, yeah, is now a quite good restaurant. I have my own door because it's from the old times. It means very luxury. I'm coming to my place also in slippers, yeah, because I have also infrastructure up where I can sleep and so on and so on. I spent 25 euros in this restaurant, which is the 3rd owner now. Yeah, I think the gin is costing less than 2 euros, and also the Schweppes is €1.50. I think if I have 3 or 4 gin tonics, I have to think about who will drag me up on the 7th floor. Yeah? You have to understand. If you have money, you can here really have a great life. On the other hand, you can imagine you have also to work a lot, but this relation is crazy. Now to an interesting point. If you think that the flats are cheap, okay, they are cheap for Munich, huh? But the rents are quite low. Yeah? In period Wonderfront, the maklers, the brokers are talking, yes, you get 12 to 15 euros per square meter. And now imagine a guy which earns 1,500 euros and should rent a flat of 100 square meters, that he would pay 1,500 euros a month plus costs. I don't believe. They could, but they don't have then the leasing car and this and that. Yeah? I know if some of the brokers will watch this, they will crucify me. I don't believe it. It's not like this. The rents and the cost of the property is not in some logical relation. A friend of mine, business friend of mine, bought quite a lot of rents with flats with the riverside, and he flipped it, and he earned a hell of money. He believed that this will happen. The guy is great. Yeah. On the other hand, he lost money because he had a great logistical project he could not finish. Some paperwork, some infrastructure was missing, and there he lost also money, less, but if you make the balance, yeah, because he invested money for the logistics center in the flats, yeah. But okay, this is you make decisions. I invested my money, made of my money in land, which is in the highway. I'm quite sure that the value won't be lower, and especially I am sure that it would be a good thing in case of inflation in the Eurozone, which will come. I believe it's only a question how serious the situation will be. The printing machines were on now, a year and a little bit. We will see. But it's not my. I talking now like a entrepreneur, which is a little bit concerned. Yeah? I like that I have some real estate, which could not so easy lose the value.
Alexander, you look back now over 30 years of Balkan experience, and also now I would like to ask you 20 years in Serbia. What's your impression? Is there a lot of positive development? Are you optimistic for the next 10 years? Do you recommend the international viewers we have, the investors, to come to Serbia? And in which sector would you put your money in? And what's your vision for Serbia 2030?
Yeah, to be honest, now I would like to say some words to US. Yeah? We did not receive up to now US clients. Obviously, this initiative for Trump was not so bad. Yeah? We have now a client which is doing a quite complicated thing. It's here, and I think it's here some sub-supplier. But I think that this that you're on the length, how to say, that you're in the focus or someone you are seen, and then things are happening. Yeah. So coming back to your question, you see, in principle, Serbia is now on the map, yeah, and on a good position. But you have to analyze what you would like to do. Yeah. For example, you mentioned before Russia, only to come to Serbia to do products for the Russian market, because if you have the production here, you can export. It's in this sentence great, but I can tell you, I saw in the meat industry and I saw in the dairy industry, it's very complicated, and you could be in problems because Russia says we are not allowing that you are exporting. It means you have to analyze, you have to do your stuff, and you have to have in mind, you have a border, you have a lot of things which could be a problem. You have to make a one-page business plan, and then you make your fact-finding mission, yeah, and talk to a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs. Decide to take a serious consultant, take a broker, talk to all brokers. Yeah? It's more or less for free, and then to make a right picture. Yeah? For example, these guys are from America will bring some knives, industrial knives, cutting die. It's called cutting die. Yeah? The English word. Yeah? And they will bring it per plane, and here it will sharpen and will go back to America and to the global market. These dies then distributed to a lot of factories. But you have to think over the whole procedure. Yeah? Do it in which way? There is a border. There are things, for example, I advised him not to be owner. The Serbian company should not be owner of this. It should be only re-export, because then it's easier to handle the custom issue. You have to have the whole picture to have things. For example, logistics. It's working, and not automotive would not come to Serbia if it's not working. Yeah? Try to find out, is there some competition or something similar here, which is satisfied. Talk to the people. In general, a good entrepreneur will talk with you. Yeah? And now I cannot talk from my perspective. You know, I have 20 companies, I have something sold, and so on and so on. I'm fanatic, yeah. I'm crazy. You cannot. This is, this is another league. I'm not relevant. Yeah. For example, I started in Serbia and made translation company, HR company, this and that, because nothing was existing. These apartments was prepared for a corporate client of mine, which should let their people 2-3 years should be there. At the end, the deal broke, and we decided not to sue. And then we had to find R&B without R&B clients. Yeah, not easy situation. Yeah? I have now a client, a very smart guy, Sven. I'm allowed to say this, which does things, how it's called, was sagt man, Polster? Cushions for boats. He will employ 10 people which are doing this. And we will give him the software which he could use for the production side. We have the same software for the financial side, and it will be successful. That means he will use Serbia like a sub-supplier, and he's a fanatic like guy for Serbia. He's a fanatic for these issues, discussions for both. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah? 10 people. It can work, but it's worked because it makes for him sense. My general advice is 50 people minimum, maybe a little bit less, but you need a well-paid manager, a well-paid deputy, and then you have to split their salaries on 50 heads. If you split it on 10 heads, it won't work. If you split heads of ordinary workers, then you get a balance in the costs. Yeah? And 50 is somehow this number. I have to be honest, in the past, 50 was the minimum to get an incentive. Today, for example, if someone would invest in Feketic, they would get, they need 30 employees in 3 years, plus an investment of, I think, 300,000 euros. I'm not exactly sure. I have the table here, but this would be the possibility to get this incentive. It's getting a little bit, but it's not changing anything. The incentive is not important. If you can get an average salary cost which is for the beginning acceptable, then you have a problem. On the long run, and really on the long run, you have only to increase productivity, and then the people give more money. Yeah? But you have to have productivity. Yeah? And if you have a lot of bullshit in between, then I had our German company here which made the large mine in Bohr. They made concrete, mixed concrete, and for the mines, it's then filled, how to say it, like pumped in the mines. Yeah? And they had, I don't know, 1,000 lorry loads. Yeah? I don't know, maybe 2,000. I have no idea anymore. I forgot it. And now what happened? The inspector is coming and said, where are the signed confirmations that the goods are taken over? Yeah? That means company Röfix sends some prepared concrete and sand there to pour, then the water is added, and then it's mixed. Yeah? No, I totally wrong. The concrete and sand is transported. There's a plant which is doing this, added water and so on. But there are principally no people. Yeah? And it's missing one podpis. We found the third word, Unterschrift, yeah? Signature. Or I had the client in the swine industry, which had monthly 1,000 truckloads of food. And now you can imagine there is signature of the farm where the food is going, but not of an employee of my client, because the plant is somewhere else. Yeah? And now this missing signature could be a problem. And I ask if it's logical, the flow. We give all information. Please let us do our work and not make the missing paper make troubles. I understand you. I have to say, logical, I'm consultant. I like also to write hours, but I call it blood money. I like to do a project where someone is investing money here and makes a good step. I hate to make blood money when we have to solve problems which are not problems, but only someone sees from. You understand? It's the clear message. Yeah? On the other side, I have an organization which has to be paid, and we have to make also fees to cover all our costs. But this is extremely disturbing. You cannot imagine how confusing this is. Yeah? I think if you have a good idea, for example, to organize some sub-supplier here, but very important is you have to have in mind that the market here you cannot count on. There is no market. Yeah? It's also not market in the whole region. Yeah? If you have the idea to have a market here, it's another story. If you only produce something and sell it back, or services like call center or something like this, it could be a very good story. But I would also check. There should be also competition. Check a little bit Kosovo, Albania, Bulgaria. Get a picture of the whole region, only to get feeling. It should help. They always should get the feeling there's competition. It's not only one choice. There is a top list of 3 choices. Okay, you can say who has so much time. On the other hand, a lot of information today online. Now you can imagine that when I'm talking now to you, someone will take a look for free and have a quite good picture of some things. And now, it's easier to say exactly what you do and then to give an expert a chance to explain it to you. What I missed before, this custom incentives for Russia. 51% of the goods used have to be Serbian origin. And it's not like this that you import from European Union metal, and then you say it's Serbian origin. It's not Serbian origin. It's Serbian origin only if it's melted down and something else is done. Or if you cut it, it's not Serbian origin. And the Russian controllers checked, for example, in the case of the dairy, they checked dairy. They checked also where the milk is coming from. They go so deep, and then I have to say it's too complicated. My final advice is never be here because of incentives. The project has to be without incentive successful. Absolute. It's a rule I learned in these 20 years, and it would be everywhere like this. And the second issue is really workforce. We do quite often analysis of workforce and say what we have our basis, database. I have sent you the Russian investors. We have also databases for employment and so on. And if a client of mine was saying, I will employ 2,000 people. And then I said to him, okay, I have in my database that in this whole region, there are 6,000 working places at all. And there are also in companies which are in bankruptcy and so on and so on and so on. I don't believe that they will solve this issue. They have to import from Bosnia people. And it's very interesting. In Republika Srpska, most of the people has double citizenship, because I said I would be very careful if this would be accepted by the Serbian state at the end, because it's not an incentive to pay for foreigners. You cannot technically say they are not foreigners, but it could be a topic. And this is our strong side. We say, have in mind this. And they decided the location anywhere, and they have extremely problems to even employ hundreds of people. They reduced also the project. There are other things, but we have to give a fair and true picture. I like to have such a client, but I would like also that this would be a successful story. And as the case of Sven says, this his idea. He's very strong in this boat industry, a small niche. One page that your consultant is understanding the whole supply chain. Nearshoring is the large topic. There is also a very interesting study. You can give it maybe in the comments, which come out the last. And this was 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, about nearshoring, and there's comparison of 6 countries in West Balkan. Very interesting. It could be a good link. But at the end of the day, your concept with that you have in mind, there is the topic of the custom. There's a topic of certification, that everything what has electrical supply needs some local authority confirmation, certification. Last very funny story. I made my apartment, Airbnb hotel with flats and so on. We had the concept, I think we had 6 kitchens with special refrigerators which were without any sound. But these were not registered in Serbia. The company Gorenje did not sell this to Serbia, only to European community. And then I had to make certification of this silent refrigerator. 6, I think 6, 5, 6, I'm not sure. And then I said, okay, we need this, we ordered this, we have to open, you know how this is. And then I made the following thing. I was signing off all refrigerators with a permanent marker. And then some weeks later, a lot of weeks, 4 weeks, I got it back, not opened, and with an invoice of, let's say, 1,000 euros, even more, 1,500 euros. That means approximately the value, no, they were a little bit more expensive. Half of the value of the refrigerators were going to nothing because they didn't open it. Because if you would like to read the documentation, I can also send the documentation per post. It could also be possible that I could install my kitchens and then you give afterwards the approval, because they will not, because the fear is such a product could kill some person here. And I run, and my sarcasm is very good, I think understandable.
Yes.
And I will not say the words I have now in mind. And this is this no one is understanding. And such things are very hurting and make a bad image. It's a pity that this rule in principle is also now applicable. Now, logical, you can have some custom officer which is cool. Maybe someone would like to hurt you, and yes, it's a problem. One sentence to customs. I was really doing a perfect project for the Serbian agro industry. I would like to copy with partners the whole. We have a Austrian partner. The whole concept of a Schweineerzeugungsverein. It's a community which is producing pigs, and which is owned by the farmers. It's a infrastructure thing for the swine industry. And one of the reasons why we did not do it was if I have an enemy and the enemy pays to a competitor, pays to a custom veterinary, 500 euros, 100 euros, 200 euros, and says kill all these expensive mother swines, the loss will be above 50,000 euros for an investment of 1% or less. And I cannot exclude this possibility. And this is this Balkan creativity of not very good people which are killing good projects. And it was a heartbreaking moment for me to accept that the risk is too large. It's things, to make a final statement, things getting better, but I would really wish that some stupid things from my refrigerator topic or major things like VAT, understanding of the VAT law changes to help us to spend time and money to invest in Serbia. And then in each village, on the highway, off the highway, some German plant production helps that the village lives better. Not that we bring Mr. Schwarz here, but that helps people to earn better, to can go to the barber, to purchase more, to help the community. But with messing up with entrepreneurs, let the investor is someone else. We are entrepreneurs.
we will not invest because we have better places to spend our time, and don't fool us. Last word is, in Serbian you have a word which is nadmudriti, to bring intelligence to someone. And I often use this word, what is it's in very negative context from my perspective, that someone would like to teach me that there is a way to make thing what I want to happen not possible. And this, to kill my swines, is not mudrity. And if this not mudrity stays, would not be punished, that really, if something is accepted like business practice, that this is a good thing, then we have really a problem, or even I would have a problem to stay here. So we have a perspective, but you need case by case. 20 projects means also 20 different business plans. 1/3 of the projects were catastrophe, and I did not my job properly, because the right job would be not to do these projects which were not successful, but gain this experience, and now I would decide differently.
Alexander, you are very somber in your closing statement. I would like to give you an opportunity. For the last 20 years, you have passionately invested in Serbia. You continue to do it. You are optimistic for the next 10 years, yes, and you recommend it?
Yes. I will invest money which I will get out of my project in Feketic, because this is the main asset. I will invest further in smaller projects. I plan to finance farmers, that to do what was in big scale, to help farmers to buy their resources, their input factors, like chemical stuff or seeds or whatever. I'm totally convinced in Vojvodina. I will buy land, agro land, and also again rent it out, and to try to make connect things that the farmers are producing what I need for my swines, and so on and so on. We will find new projects, but we have to be very careful, and I make now longer analysis in the beginning as in the past. And I think really a good feasibility study, I'm not talking about a consultant in the first phase, only to check things, or to get facts straight, is then a good thing. And never forget, expect that you will spend time. It's not important how much time, but you have to calculate it. That's what you lose. For example, I have an office in Slovenia. I have a good working office in Slovenia to go to Serbia. In the beginning, I lost a hell of money. Afterward, it worked. We are people. You cannot, if you are large enough, you can have professional management, and you don't need so much time. But very rarely, I had a perfect situation with a call center, where I had partly 100 people, where I was the owner, and I spent management-wise, ownership-wise, 1 hour, maybe 2 a month. But why? I had a perfect team, and at the end, the main guy bought this. It was an MBO, and why I sold it? Because I got the real feeling for GDPR, for the problem of this rule, and I said we cannot be in such a mess if this GDPR will be realized like it should be. And I was selling this because of this. It was really perfect organized, but I was sure that I won't gain anything. I would only increase my risk. This is also a perspective. Risk, which risk you would have, also this should be taken into account.
So you're optimistic for Serbia 2030?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of infrastructure will be built, a lot of things will happen, and I'm absolutely optimistic. I will stay here. I will maybe be more out of personal reasons in Austria, related to my mother, because time you cannot buy, and will use the new technology. I could sit also now in Austria and talk with you from Villach, or St. Jakob, the village on the border, Karawanken, tunnel is the village connected. I could sit there and then talk with, like drink a coffee with my mother, and it would not be a problem. It makes no difference. And this is the main advantage of COVID. The digitalization was forced on us. Yeah. Besides all trouble, this helped. Yeah. Also, even for me, yeah, I was not so keen on this technology. Now I use it day to day, often a lot of times, and save a lot of time. Now I'm very optimistic, and I think when we find some problems, we should be so open and cry it out and say it. This is a problem. Yeah? And I think in this transparent world, also governments cannot ignore things. Yeah? And especially if some like corruption, yeah? It's now not these people who try to take money really fear to get fined. Yeah, the main problem is maybe that I have the feeling in this case, which was now happening 2 days ago, that there was a message sent to a party comrade of Mr. Vucic. What can happen? Yeah, I'm not Serbian. I have no voting right. It's my personal opinion. Yeah, but I can get this expression. Or feeling, yeah? And what is very important, what you have to have in mind, I speak in Slovenish, Serbian, Bosnian, and so on. I'm joking now. It's very important. Without the language skills, I could not survive here. In my field of business, if I could not read without documents, without a translator, it would be catastrophic. Language skills are very important. That not means that the investor needs it, but you have to be aware about this factor too.
You may allow me to ask, you speak Slovenian back from the Austrian Slovenian minority background, or?
This is very interesting. It's a very interesting statement I have now to make. You have to understand, I was born in 72. Yeah, I was always seeing myself as German. I was never wishing to speak Slovenian. I was forced in the school to have 2 years Volksschule, primary school, to have Slovenian 2 years. I had 3. That's very bad. It's for this primary step. It's like yes, we don't. It's the absolute minimum of minimum in a primary school, because you don't give child's worse grades in primary school in this time. Yeah? And then I came to the situation that I got some money from a small inheritance. We're talking about some €1,000. And I decided to take a part of this, and then I started to found this company in Slovenia. Yeah? This Copri, this bridge company, textile trade with Hong Kong. On the other side, I was in the situation I want to study in Klagenfurt, international economics, and then I had a problem. I was not speaking any language besides English, and I need a second one. And then I decided to learn Slovenian. And my teachers were so, Professor Shenanda and their team, that they said, you are not knowing anything, but because there were not any students at all for 3-4. I succeeded to take from every lecture half the time, and I succeeded within 3 years to learn Slovenian quite properly, and then I was really a fluent speaker. Now I'm not speaking really active Slovenian anymore. It's confusing my Serbian, but I read a lot of Slovenian documents, balance sheets, reports, and so on. And it was a long, long way, but without the language, and maybe also without this foundation of the company in Copper, maybe I would not be entrepreneur. I would work in some administration. I would maybe be employee of Hypobank. Yeah, maybe I would be also. You see my creativity. Maybe I will also be on the how it's called, Anklagebank, that I will be accused for something. I'm a very good person, but I'm creative. Yeah, and I don't know where my career is going. I'm not missing any step it's partly very hard, but I'm now recognizing for myself that I'm an assimilated Slovenian, and I'm now, when I'm coming a little bit more back, I will join some institutions in Carinthia, Slovenian institutions. I would like to get a feeling what I missed, because I was absolutely anti-minority. And you have to know the special situation in Carinthia. It's leading to far. It was really like you are on one side or the other side. I would like to cherish a hope. I always in the conferences say between Kosovo and Serbia, Serbia and Kosovo, we have to work together. We have to live together, and we have to create waves together, and then we will live all better. And this has to be the aim. I, like an entrepreneur, I would invest in Kosovo. I have the problem in the moment that I have no flights. I don't like the infrastructure with the car. It's too far, in my opinion. And there are other things which I have no time in the moment. But I would like to have my last office. I hope I will live really long. That I build up an office in Kosovo too. In Albania, I would definitely search a partner and help this partner, which would be then a young person, to build up this vision approach, that not to be an accountant. For example, the Albanian partner said to me, potential partner, we are not able to invoice all the fees. I said, we have no billing system. I bring a billing system, and there are clients which are expecting that you are billing. Why? Because for what you've invoiced, you have also to be liable, and you need an insurance to be liable. And it was for them a new world, and I would like to share this world, but it's not easy to find right partners. I'm sure that Gunther could help me in this. This is also my responsibility as West Balkan coordinator of ECOVIS. But this is really an interesting job, what I'm doing. I'm seeing so many different things, but as I mentioned, I love to live here. And from a professional perspective, often I hate also to live here, but it's the Balkans. If you are honest, it's like this. If you're sitting on the top, you get all the problems, and then you have to tell your client why something is a problem, not to be a fool, to be honest, but to make understand the client what is really going on.
It's a powerful statement of commitment for peace and reconciliation, for trade and for investment. And that's what I think the last 20 years you have devoted your life. And also that's a powerful contribution Austrian state, economy and entrepreneurs can make for all the Balkan countries. You have chosen very much successfully also Serbia. And it's just now, I think, 5 hours drive from here where I'm sitting, from Vienna to Belgrade. We are so close, and we are together in Europe. And I think that will be also a powerful message for the coming years of EU accession of Serbia, and also hopefully for all your projects to be successful. That's for me to say thank you very much that you decided to take time to talk to Pax Europiana via this video podcast. And also I wish you a lot of success economically and also privately between Klagenfurt and Belgrade and all the beautiful places you have decided to invest, especially your direct investment in Feketić, which is on the road north of Belgrade. And you shared it so impressively now during this video podcast. And I hope there will be a lot of investors coming to your industrial park.
Thank you very much. Also, I would thank for your work, because we are supporting Austria, the whole community, the Berlin community. That's maybe not recognized, but we do this. And believe me, if you look back, how small Austria was until the breakdown of the Eastern Bloc, and what happened until there. I have one statement to make. I decided a long time ago, I was asked by the municipality, how should the road be called? And I named it European Road. Our road is European Road. In the industrial zone, it's showing us to Europe. It's only 530 meters long, but I think every travel starts with the first step, and there will be a lot of good things in this region, but we have to work on this together, and I think it's valuable, and thank you for our invitation. We have quite a long session, but it was really great to talk with you, and you have a good concept, and it was easy for me to fill up these 3 hours. I think it's a little bit less than 3 hours. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thanks a lot for sharing so much of your background, your experience, and also of your contribution to Austrian and Serbian relation to direct investments, and also a lot of your insights. And I think you can help a lot of investors in the future, and I recommend it very much.
Thank you.
Now
have a nice day.